Welcome to Business Forward. I'm Kaylin Risvold, President and CEO of the Naperville Area Chamber of Commerce, and today we're talking about the workforce and the future of the workforce and what that looks like and how we can help invest in our students. I have a Vice President, Aggie Hanni from North Central College here, and let's dive right in. What should students be looking at now as they're considering college?
Sure. I think location is a great opportunity to start that college search process because it has a lot of implications, whether a student wants to be in a large metropolitan area or a smaller rural campus or maybe something in between. With location, there will be additional implications such as transportation to campus, such as opportunities for internships, opportunities for jobs and networking. So that's always a great place to start. And how do students find out whether location makes all of their wishes come true? They come to campus and find out whether that fit is what they're looking for. Oftentimes our students talk about community. The sense of community that they feel when they visit allows them to narrow down their choices.
Outside of location and transportation, what else should students and their parents look at as they look to make this decision?
Certainly academic choices are top priority for students, and I think one way to start that search process is to narrow down the types of programs that they're looking for. Some institutions offer very unique majors that are not available elsewhere, so that certainly narrows down the process, but many institutions offer a lot of choices that overlap. So that makes things a little bit more complicated, but it also can be positive for students who are not sure what they want to major in. It's totally appropriate to take their time figuring out if they chose the right major from the get-go or if they ended up starting undecided, because ultimately that's what college experience is all about, figuring out whether or not they want to pursue a particular area, whether or not that area is a good fit for their strengths. So that search process can happen at an institution that has a lot of different options, not just very unique options.
This decision certainly can feel overwhelming. As we're looking at the strengths of our future workforce and current workforce, how are you seeing that play into the college? Are you seeing people come in and change majors or transfer from different schools?
Absolutely. It's a very common practice. As a matter of fact, it's actually less common for us to see a student who starts with one particular major and sticks with that major. That happens by all means, but many students engage in that search process through changing their majors too. So completely normal, completely possible for students to change directions at any point. The earlier they do it, the better it is because they position themselves for the appropriate courses for that track, but it's really completely appropriate for students to still be in that discovery stage.
This is certainly an investment of time and energy and learning, which is great, but it's also a financial investment. How does that play into this decision?
So finances typically start that conversation for a lot of families, which is very appropriate. College is an investment. In my role, I often like to think that students should really keep in mind that because it's an investment, it's a lifelong commitment. And as such, thinking about the investment that they're making, not in the short term, but really how that investment positions them for lifelong careers. Nowadays, many students, once they graduate, end up changing jobs every 5 years or so. That tells us that students should be prepared for those transitions as they happen throughout their lifetime. We know that there are careers that will be around in 5, 10, 15 years that we can't even predict. So with that, it's important to think about the entirety of the college experience, not just the outcome of a particular major. And we oftentimes talk about college being quite expensive, and that's absolutely the case. But there are other types of things that are also expensive, and we don't tend to think about them the same way. Healthcare or legal services are those examples. Those costs have changed over time just as much as higher education costs have changed, but we're really not thinking about that being an investment into our children's future, into our own future as we pursue lifelong education. So those are some of the reasons to think about it from the perspective of a long-term investment. I think it's important to keep the rhetoric that's currently out there about the value proposition of a college degree in check, because it's important for us to recognize that there are still many careers that absolutely require college degrees, and that won't change. So that's one perspective. Another perspective is, again, this lifelong commitment of setting oneself up for a career. If college is not the right choice right after high school, that's fine too. That door is never closed. Students can engage in different educational opportunities, whether it's full-on 4-year degrees or certificate options or graduate degrees or any number of options, many much later in their life too, and that's completely appropriate as well.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insight, and as a North Central alum myself, I'll end with go Cards.
Thank you. Go Cardinals.